Hi, this is Anne with some homeschooling help for this week. Today I want to tell you how to use a hundreds chart. This is a wonderful way to teach your children how to count, but not just counting. This is so useful in 100,000 different ways. Okay, maybe a slight exaggeration, but seriously, a hundreds chart is one of the most flexible and useful devices you will ever find for helping your child to understand numbers and basic arithmetic processes. You can use it almost every day in your teaching from kindergarten or even preschool all the way up through 4th, 5th, 6th grade. Here are some really simple ideas to get you started. I am borrowing these ideas from a great book called The 3 R's, and it's by Ruth Beechick. Beechick is spelled Beechick. Ruth Beechick, and the book again is called The 3 R's. She includes a hundreds chart in each of the books, and she has on page 119 a list of easy ways you can use the hundreds chart. First of all, starting with just the smallest children, and by the way, a hundreds chart, let me describe one in case you've never seen one. Basically, it's a chart that counts to 100, and there are 10 numbers on every row, so there are 10 rows. The first row counts from 1 to 10, the second one from 11 to 20, the third one from 21 to 30, and they're all lined up with all the numbers, neat and orderly, so all the ones are lined up in the same column and all the twos are lined up. You could make this yourself on just a simple piece of paper. If you do, get it laminated, and I recommend making each spot where each number is big enough for at least a penny, because it's really fun to use objects such as coins or dice or little counters from a Monopoly game or something like that. Buttons, they work great. So, and putting those objects on the chart while you count can help your child see all kinds of patterns. So you might want to count to 10, then count to 20. See how high your very young child can count. This is a great thing to start doing in preschool. Maybe you just want to hang it on your wall so that, you can have natural conversations about counting. But then you can go on and teach addition. You could say, what is 5 and 1 more? So, of course, you could take your finger and move it to the number 5 and then say, what is 5 and 1 more? And it's really easy for your child to see that it's 6. Or you could say, what is 3 and 2 more? And again, it's just such a visual way for your child to see how addition works. You can do the same thing with subtraction problems, or as I say with my kids, takeaways. Because what is 1 less than 6? Or you have 6, take away 1. So, or you could do it with 8. What is 1 less than 8? Or what is 2 less than 5? Or 5, take away 2. So you can just teach it without using fancy language. It's just everyday language. It's just super easy. Now we can get a lot more advanced than that. You can teach your children to count by tens, count by 5s. When I do that, I like to put buttons on every 5 and every 10. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, all of them have buttons. Once you've put a couple buttons on and your child is sitting there with you, they want to continue and they want to keep putting all the buttons on. If you go to a big box store such as Walmart or Target, you can get a package of buttons for just $1 or $2 if you don't have any passed down from your grandmother. We kept ours in little paper cups, and we had 10 of those paper cups. So it was a great way to count, even by putting buttons in the cups and taking some out to put them on the chart. You can count by tens, but you could even, instead of starting at 0 and counting up to 10, you could start on the number 3 and count by tens. 3, 13, 23, 33, and you could start on any other number. You can count any size group you want. So let's say you're having, you have 5 people in your family and you're having 7 more come this Friday evening for Erev Shabbat, and to celebrate bringing in the Shabbat together, so you could show your child, we have 5, 7 more are coming. That brings us to 12, and do it with your finger, and then you can set the table together, and this is just great. Now I'm doing stuff for very young children here, but you could start with the number 7 and add 5 to it, and that takes you to 12, and that has bridged over to a new row and helps your child understand things like carrying and things that they're going to be needing when they get into a little bit harder addition and subtraction. addition. Of course, you can do the same thing with subtraction. Try nines. The nines are so cool on a hundreds chart. A great time to bring out the buttons again. And so what is 9 plus 9? And that takes 18. And I wish I could show this to you, but it's radio. So you're going to have to try this. The nines are so cool. Use those buttons, put them on, and let them see this makes a pattern. Yehovah's world is so amazing, and it's full of patterns, and these patterns are very mathematical. You could make rules for counting by 11. That also makes a pattern. In fact, counting by and adding by any number always makes a pattern, and it's so cool to see it. You could begin at 100 and count backward by 10, or count backward by 5, or backward by 2, or start at the number 76 or some other random number and count backward by 3. See if your child can do it. This is a great way to encourage thinking in a multiplication sort of way, which will get them ready for that, maybe end of second grade, first of third grade. It's just a wonderful way to start. So any difficult problem that your child has on their math homework, pull out the hundreds chart and see if you can solve it by looking right at the hundreds chart. Suddenly everything becomes much more clear, and your child is learning to think concretely and not just abstractly. It's just a fantastic thing. So this has been Anne with a homeschooling help for this week.